Race day is upon us as millions of people get ready for the 144th Kentucky Derby. The historic Run for the Roses is one of the biggest sporting events in the world, and not just for fashion. We now welcome CBS Sports writer Cody Benjamin from Charlotte, North Carolina, to talk all about it. So let's jump right into it. Who's this year's favorites to win the Derby?
Yeah, usually when you come into the Derby, there's a clear-cut favorite, and the odds makers will tell you that Justify with 3-1 odds is the favorite. But realistically, I mean, when you look at this field, it's more deep than, I mean, any other year probably in the last decade, maybe even more. Bolt d'Oro is one of the favorites there. Mendelssohn is another one, but all of these kind of have caveats. Justify not having raced as a 2-year-old. There's actually something called the Apollo curse, which you'll hear about if you follow horse racing. And that since 1882, there hasn't been a horse who didn't race as a 2-year-old who went on to win the Kentucky Derby. So Justify would be first in that category. Another one of the favorites, Magnum Moon, is another one who would break that curse if he were to accomplish the Kentucky Derby first place. And also Mendelssohn, coming from Europe, no European horse has ever won the Kentucky Derby. So a lot of these horses that are up top, they have to fight against history as well as the racetrack.
Can we also, it's hard to talk about the Kentucky Derby without talking about the potential for a Triple Crown winner. The last time a horse did that, it was American Pharoah back in 2015. And we know his trainer, Bob Baffert, has 2 horses in this race. Any chance that he could pull it off again?
Well, I mean, if there's one horse that's going to do it, it would probably be Justify. I mean, if Justify is able to, you know, at the end of the day on Saturday, if we're looking at it and he's accomplished and beaten that Apollo curse and won the Kentucky Derby, I think he'd be the obvious favorite to pull off that Triple Crown, kind of a physical specimen. I mean, and all these horses are physical specimens, but he's really been described as above this class in terms of just athleticism, just one of the pure thoroughbreds that just stands out from this class. Justify, obviously, he's got 2 horses. The trainer has 2 horses in this race, but Justify is the one that could potentially do it.
We know rain is in the forecast. How do you think this might affect the race?
Yeah, it kind of just depends on how much rain you get. I mean, last year, Always Dreaming was able to run on a fast, wet track, and it didn't harm him too much around those 2 turns. But again, it depends on how much it rains. I mean, it could be muddy or sloppy. 7 of the 20 horses that are in this race have run in those conditions. And just something to keep an eye on, Justify is 2-0 when he has to race in those conditions. But obviously, not ideal when you have the rain pouring down. If it is muddy and sloppy, usually those kind of conditions would favor the stronger horses, not the lighter, quicker ones, because you're going to need more energy to power up against a muddy track.
Cody Benjamin, thank you so much for joining us, Cody.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.